सोनामुखी, हरड़, मुलेठी जैसी अनेक जड़ी बूटियां और हजारों वर्षों का प्राचीन आयुर्वेदिक ज्ञान इस एक बोतल में समाया हुआ है। कायम टैबलेट, आपकी खुशियों का साथी।
Iran is facing one of its most serious waves of unrest in years. What began as a small protest over rising prices quickly turned into a nationwide crisis. As demonstrations spread, Iran's leadership shifted its focus outward, directly blaming the United States and President Donald Trump. So what exactly is happening inside Iran? And why is Trump now being accused by Iran's top leader of having blood-stained hands? The protests in Iran began on December 28 last year in two markets in Tehran. People gathered to protest rising inflation and the rapid fall of Iran's currency, the rial. These are long-standing economic problems made worse by sanctions, unemployment, and government mismanagement. Within days, the protest spread far beyond Tehran. Demonstrations were reported across dozens of cities, turning into a nationwide challenge to Iran's clerical leadership. How serious did the unrest become? Iran's state media initially avoided reporting casualty numbers, but by early January, officials acknowledged that there had been casualties. Without giving details, human rights groups filled in the gaps. Activists said at least 62 people had been killed. The US-based human rights activist news agency, also known as HRANA, reported over 65 people had died, over 2,300 had been detained, and protests had spread to more than 500 locations across all 31 provinces. As unrest grew, the government tightened control. Internet access was severely restricted. Iran's communications ministry said the shutdowns were ordered by security authorities due to the prevailing circumstances. Flights were also affected. Airlines, including Turkish Airlines, cancelled routes, and dozens of flights between Iran and Dubai were suspended. Then came the political response. On Friday, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei addressed supporters in Tehran. During the speech, he accused the United States and Israel of being behind the violence, calling protesters terrorist agents. Khamenei directly targeted President Trump, calling him arrogant and claiming his hands were stained with the blood of Iranians. What was Khamenei actually referring to? In a series of posts on X, Khamenei accused Trump of ordering actions that he said led to the deaths of more than 1,000 Iranians during what he described as a 12-day war in June. These claims were presented by Khamenei as evidence that Trump could not claim to support the Iranian people. These accusations have not been independently verified by international observers or Western governments, but inside Iran they were broadcast widely on state television as supporters chanted "Death to America." Khamenei also warned protesters that a crackdown was coming. Iran's judiciary chief echoed that message, promising decisive punishment with no legal leniency. At the same time, another voice entered the picture. Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of Iran's last monarch, issued an urgent public appeal to President Trump from abroad. Pahlavi called on the US to support protesters and be ready to intervene to help the Iranian people. His message resonated with some demonstrators. Videos shared online showed chants supporting Pahlavi and calling for his return, though Iran's government dismisses him as irrelevant and foreign-backed. Iran's leadership is framing the unrest as a foreign-driven plot, while protesters say they are driven by economic hardship and anger at the ruling system. The US denies directing the protest but has publicly supported the right to peaceful demonstration. But what is clear is that Iran is entering another tense and dangerous phase, one where internal pressure, outside blame, and harsh crackdowns are colliding.